Hey there, Coach Abaxial here with Game Gym Online. Thanks for coming in. Regardless of whether you want to win a Clash tournament with your friends, climb a challenger, or one day go pro, we're here to point you in the right direction. This is Controlling Jungle Respawns. In previous material, or your own experience, you've probably learned how to invade the enemy jungler at level 2 or 3. This can be effective at even the highest levels of play if you see the correct opportunity, but it's not the only way to invade the enemy jungler. We can also learn to attack the first respawns on their camps, which are worth substantially more experience and can easily get you to level 6 before the enemy jungler. We'll also discuss getting the most out of the respawns in our own jungle. Load up practice tool. I'm going to use Kindred because their Mark's passive makes this more fun, but other junglers can work too. Once you're in game, buy the red jungle item. We're going to start at our red buff, but afterwards we will move to the enemy jungle and simulate the enemy clear. Note that we are going to need to use the warp function here, which is by default bound to Shift+S. You may rebind it to a single key if you find that more comfortable. So, I'll start on my red, and once I'm done, I will warp to the enemy Gromp. I will continue to do wolves, and then the red side of the enemy jungle, using either flash or the warp function again to get past the enemy turrets. Once done with the enemy Krugs, I'll do the Scuttle Crabs. I'm going to warp to the bottom crab to get the Mark passive on cooldown, but if I was top, I would just walk there. Once both crabs are done, we face a choice. I could just reset, but my first ideal back on Kindred involves Berserker Greaves, which I don't have enough money to purchase. I could go back to my own jungle, but if my bot has pressure, I could instead invade the enemy Gromp. So, had I done my Krug second here, they would spawn at exactly the same time as the enemy Gromp, which is about 4:25. Now I'm going to go here, go to the enemy Gromp, and because I got my first mark immediately with the Scuttle Crab on the spawn, it's already off cooldown, and thus this first jungle respawn can also give me a mark. It's very rewarding to do this. Now you see that if we look at the enemy jungle clear and pay attention to the leashes at the start of the game, it's usually bot, but can be top as well, then we know that what order the enemy camps will respawn, and thus we can prepare to contest them on spawn. Let's look at respawns in our own jungle now. I'm going to use Hecarim, but other junglers can work as well as long as they can start Raptors level 1 by themselves without a leash, such as a Mumu or Udyr. So we start Raptors, we run past our red to do our Krugs, and then we finish the red. Likewise, when we go to their side, we do wolves, Gromp, and then finish with the blue, buffs last, not first. With a bit of practice, you'll find that you can still do all of these and get level 4 before that 330 Scuttle Crab spawn. Once you do both crabs, you'll notice that your Raptors have actually already respawned. And that your Krugs are going to come up right after that as well. By starting with your non-buff camps, we push their second respawn forward. If the enemy jungler did not do the same to you, then they can only gank during this time, so ping for your lanes, try and be watching the map, but while they do that, you're farming, and you're on your way to level 5. So you're beating them in efficiency. As a side note, there are other benefits to a leashless clear. We avoid showing the enemy jungler where we start, and it's not as if we can't gank doing these clears. And since our lanes don't leash, they naturally push, they naturally get opportunities to ward, which means that we will likely see the enemy jungler, which gives us opportunities to either counter jungle or gank on the other side, knowing that we're not going to have a 2 versus 2. Lastly, this clear is also the same between doing practice tool and playing in real games, since there's no leash involved, so you get very used to the precise number of auto attacks as you move around. These exercises are intended to open your mind, get you seeing further into the future. Like I explained in my wave control videos completing the push and an overview of freezing, great players read the information on the map and know what situations will arise in the next minute, while lesser players simply chase the ball and play in the moment. So that's all for now. Today can be the day that you learn and master controlling jungle respawns.